so I thought we would share our collective black belt expertise on the most dick move in all of grappling. So this is what's up, guys? It's Eli here again with Night Jiu-Jitsu channel, and I'm here with my good friends Aaron Jannetti and Shelby Young. We're up here. We just finished a KCC course up here, Knife Control Concepts. That's not what we're talking about in this video at all, but we're up here at Balance Point Jiu-Jitsu in Milford, New Hampshire. And I was like, hey, you guys want to shoot a video? And we were like, what are we going to shoot it on? And I said, what about wrist locks? Because everybody loves / hates wrist locks. One that I like, we're going to start it from standing, and then we'll talk about some ground stuff. One I like a lot is off of a head clear. So if he starts in on like a collar tie with me like this, and so, you know, we can do like over ties, we can do even collar ties, we can do a lot of different things. But if I like this shallow, I call it a shallow Waki Gatame setup. So essentially what we're doing, I'm clearing the head here like this, or I'm clearing the collar tie like this. But I like to get this 2-on-1 wrist grip here like this. And what I'm looking to do, I'm getting this 2-on-1 down here by the wrist, and I'm putting my forearm here. Now, old school Japanese style, where you go over the elbow and go into that Waki Gatame, but what I'm doing is I'm framing here on the outside of the elbow here, and I'm putting tension, so it's already a bit of pressure on his shoulder. So different responses that we can have off of this. One thing that he might try to do, he may try to come across and strip my grip off here like this, which gives me then an arm drag to the far side, which is cool. Sometimes he won't have a big reaction right off front because he doesn't know what's going on, so I'll drop the elbow inside, get my underhook, and then go across. But this one, because it's a wrist lock video, sometimes he'll try to square up to relieve the pressure on his shoulder, and whenever he does, I'm going to come over and get this old school kotegaeshi style Japanese like wrist lock. This is not Aikido, this is Jiu-Jitsu. I'm going here, 2 thumbs here on his wrist. I'm grabbing the thumb pad here like this, and I'm grabbing the blade of the hand. So those are all coming into place here this way. And then I'm going to step and hit the angle. I'm trying to take his pinky over to the outside of his elbow this way. Now, he can fall down with it, he can flip with it, he can, but he's got to go down, or he gets his wrist broken. So that's his choice. I mean, it's a choice that he has to make. So again, this one here, he's on this collar tie. I'm going to remove this here. I'm going to get this shallow Waki Gatame over here like this, and the reaction he gives me today is he tries to square back up with me, and whenever he does, I'm going to take a shuffle step across the body here, beat him to it, and I'm going to point this oblique to the back outside corner here. 2 thumbs here, and right between those 2 knuckles like that, holding the thumb pad, holding the blade here like this, pushing his pinky oblique to the outside, and then he takes a pretty aerial round off fall in practice, but likely it's going to be a lot more devastating to his wrist. That's one of my favorites here, but we also have some ground ones too. Yeah.
Do you want to go? Sure, why not? So we're going to start off in mount position. So love the head and arm triangle choke. One of my favorite chokes from a bunch of different positions. This is probably the most classic old school way, and the way that you're going to get a lot of them set up. So again, I've got my arm punched underneath. You know, we can go with either a traditional like rear naked choke grip, there's gable grips, there's a bunch of different ways to finish this, but one of the most common defenses is going to be this, you know, answering the phone. And while I could, you know, crank to a finish, there's absolutely a way to do it. He's just handed me a nice, gorgeous, beautiful wrist lock right here. And if somebody gives you a gift, it'd be rude not to take it. So he handed this to me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hand underneath, and I'm always trying to get the pinky blade towards the knuckles of the hand. Kind of gives me the most leverage, because if I grab the top part of his wrist, he's going to be really strong and be able to pull out of it. If I grab his fingers, that's really flexible, and I probably won't get the leverage point that I want. Instead, almost like a karate chop, just to the top of the knuckles here. And now from here, maybe I can keep it with both hands back here. If I really want to increase my leverage, I'm going to unloop this arm from behind the head. I can use either my neck, my chest, whatever I can get as a strong platform to push his elbow against, and then I begin pushing his wrist in this way. So again, depending on how jacked up your wrists are, if you've been doing jiu-jitsu for quite a while, it may not take much. That's probably all 3 of us at this point. But the leverage you can get from this, I'm about a $185 right now. I can put a good amount of that into the back of his elbow. His wrist won't take that much pressure to damage. So again, we started from our head and arm choke, and again, if he doesn't defend it, cool, I'm gonna choke him. But he brings the arm in for the answer to the phone, and now from here, again, I wanna get a grip on this wrist, and I'm gonna start to pinch it. I'm pushing my shoulder down into it. I'm using the side of my head, because I wanna make sure that he can't get his arm back across and can't get his hands together to start to defend. So again, I could probably finish it from here, but I'll get the most strength, the most leverage for this by unlooping my elbow from under his head. And again, I'm gonna get my chest up and over. I'm doubling up, so I've got 2 hands just against his wrist, and just a little bit of forward pressure is all it's gonna take. And if he should manage to straighten that arm out and start to get it away, we can start to look for Americana, straight arm locks, go right back to our head and arm choke, as long as we maintain our mount position and continue to try to destroy whatever he hands us.
Literally.
Glorious.
Well, hi, I'm Aaron, and I like wrist locks too. But I also play a ton of omoplata, and I use the omoplata not just from a submission standpoint, but honestly I use it a lot of times just as a sweep and just to get like top positions and stuff. So whether we were doing like an omoplata sweep and a gi where I'm going like pant leg and arm and going to kick up that way, or if I'm getting him glued in and I'm starting to work through my omoplata, pretty common defense is for him to either try to step over or to roll himself out. In either case, when I'm going across, I always start to think about the connection of my knees, like creating like a vice grip across the back of his arm here, right? And so as he goes, in this case, let's just say he kind of forward rolls through, I'm gonna come up over the top, and by having my knees connected in this big vice grip, I'm more likely to be able to retain his elbow in this case, and I wanna kind of find myself in this position here. Now again, in gi, I'd be pulling up on the wrist and the elbow to make sure he can't get this out. No gi, I really just wanna keep his elbow off the ground, so it's gonna make things a lot more complicated. I absolutely love this position. There's just so much that you can get done from here, from fundamental awesome things to what we're about to do, which is be a total dickhead. This is really just not good for him from a wrist lock standpoint. So I don't need to know anything about good mechanics. I just need to know that his wrist doesn't like to bend this way. But theoretically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep control over that. I'm gonna come over the top, and I'm still thinking about getting a good solid squeeze and grip on the outside. And then I'm really just gonna fold the two together, right? So I can do that single-handed. The other thing about this, if I have a good connection and I keep my knees squeezed together here, I can also just come up over the top with both hands. So if I have somebody maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, I can come over the top with both hands, as long as I keep that knee squeezed, and I can drive straight down, because his elbow's not going very far. And even in this case, if I do this and I kind of slip, I can drive his elbow down into the floor. I'm still gonna get my wrist locked that way. So there's not really too much he can do about it. If you're not a big omoplata player, there is another way that I like to get into this position. I set this position up a lot. I can set it up from north-south as well. I can get my way into here, heavy lifting. I'm gonna post this down, and then I can just step over. And then as I go to step over, I collect the elbow, scoop it up top. And then again, same exact mechanics. If I'm holding the elbow up, I can go single arm. If I wanna come up over the top, I can go two hands. And it's pretty gnarly, especially if you do all of this awesome work to get to this position and then decide that this is the way you're gonna go to finish. Is just disrespectful in its own right. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's the thing with wrist locks, why they're so disrespectful a lot of the time. Not only are you using so much of the strong portions of your upper body versus one of the weakest, like smallest joints in the body. So I mean, there's that on top of everything else, but it's also like, you know, you've also got a secure position in a lot of these cases. And there's so many of these. I've got other wrist lock videos out there and everything too, but I thought I'd get some unique perspectives and show some ones I haven't shown before either. I want to show an honorable mention now. This one, now, to this day, I used to do Silat a long time ago, early 90s. So this is, you know, however many years ago that was. And I used to study under Pendekar Herman Sawanda. So Herman Sawanda was one of the founders of Hari Maumane Mura, and he was a really good Penjak Silat guy. And so if you don't know what any of these words I'm saying, then just go Google it or something after. It's an exotic, neat martial art. Now, we would do a lot of things from essentially what was an open guard that I didn't really process as open guard back in the day, and it looked a lot like spider guard. I even use some of these concepts from my spider guard to this day. And one of the things that we were looking at was from here, if I have this kind of double wrist control, and then I find myself playing in this kind of almost like a spider guard type of position. Now, different things I can do as far as controlling his biceps, foot placements, everything like that. But now, what this was, and again, a little cheeky, kind of weird, probably low percentage, but very unexpected, and it fits the criteria of a weird wrist lock. So I'm gonna go here. Now, just this alone, like sometimes just that will get a reaction a lot of the time. So I'm trying to grab at the base of the hand, and I'm trying to grab my 3 fingers here on the blade here like that. Now, while we're over here and he's worried about all this kind of stuff, right, I'm gonna hit a backward roll, and I'm gonna roll over the shoulder on this side here, and then as I come up, this direction, I'm pulling his hand up with me, and so I'm coming underneath the elbow, and I'm taking his pinky over this way. Now, he doesn't have to fall down, but oftentimes he will. He can choose to stay standing and allow his wrist to be broken, or he can let me take him down this direction, in which case you can go to this like old school catch style wrestling wrist lock like that. So very nasty, very unexpected, and it comes on fast because you hit that roll and you already have the base of his hand. So very gnarly. Guys, of course, anytime you're training wrist locks, especially live energy, be careful, be considerate of your partners. Competition, anything goes, that's fine. But, you know, it is one of those things that's a delicate joint like that. But these are some really cool, crafty options. Maybe these can be employed next time you're rolling and in competition, whatever you're trying to do. I appreciate you gentlemen helping me out with this video. Shelby Young here in Milford, New Hampshire, up here in Balance Point Jiu-Jitsu. This is Aaron Jannetti over here. He's over in Ohio. We're all from different geographies here. He's in Hilliard, Ohio, at Endeavor Defense and Fitness. And then I, of course, typically teach out of Charlotte Jiu-Jitsu over in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're any of those places, or if you ever want to check out a Knife Control Concepts seminar, then make sure you find us somewhere in the world. We're all over the place, especially in the US. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Keep on watching Night Jiu-Jitsu channel, guys. Like, subscribe, share, do all those kind of things. Appreciate it.